You did what you had to do.
Did he? I don't think there's a simple, straightforward answer. Not with this show, anyway. It's not so clear-cut. There's no hero with 1,000 faces, just one face we never get to see. Well, sometimes we do. And unlike the first movies, it's not so much space fantasy as much as it is space western, with lone wolves and outlaws. And like those western characters, the ones here face things that make them question their mettle. I think it forces them to take a good long look in the mirror and see who they really are. And it's not always what they thought. And Migs goes through something like this, I think. It's more than just a covert operation for him. It's a reckoning he's having with his own past. All those people, soldiers and civilians, all dead. It was ruthlessness disguised as righteousness. And he can't forget being there. And being there was enough. It's kept him awake ever since. He went from company man to lone outlaw, in it only for himself. Cynical, world-weary, rude, and selfish. But now, because of this episode, we know why. I can sense the repentance in him, and the good. The Empire hasn't driven it from him fully. But still, because of what he's experienced, he doesn't give away trust so easily.
Let's all see your eyes.
He doesn't like what he can't clearly see. He lacks blind faith, but with good reason. Because truth is not face value, not to him. Scrutiny is a reflex action now, a safeguard. Like we see of him in the first episode he's in, he mocks the fallacy of conformity wholesale. I think I know what that feels like. It's like having to protect myself from getting hurt again, so I just wrap myself up in layers and layers of cynicism when I go out into the world. So many layers. Sometimes it's like I get totally stuck. Metaphorically speaking, of course.
We're all the same.
So Migs, go to your room. And when you're there, I want you to think about what you've done. I remember hearing that plenty of times when I was a kid. But getting cast away carries over into adulthood too. It's for when you screw up really bad. You're banished and left with nothing but all the time in the world to think about what you've done and all the mistakes that you made on the way there. That's the real punishment, I think. Not scrubbing the floor, community service, or tearing apart TIE fighters for scrap. It's having to wrestle with my own conscience. Maybe sometimes I can fool myself, but the guilt is too strong. It's tough like Beskar. I think that's what Migs is going through here as he sifts through that psychologically symbolic junkyard. He spent years probably trying to shove those memories of the Empire away. But in his defense, I don't think he was ever in denial. Well, maybe at first he was, but not in later years. Not now. I think he's found justification for what happened, and I think I know that feeling. My mind would convince me that everything is just all chaos anyway. It's a cruel world where people are just out for themselves. And so maybe he thought, that's why all those people died. So you better be out for yourself too. Or else you'll be the one taken advantage of, or even the one who dies. Be a jerk if you have to, but just don't lay down and take it. Surviving doesn't mean being nice. You do what you have to do to get by. That's the Migs philosophy. The one that Mando isn't so willing to accept. This is the way, right? But as we've seen, he bends his own rules sometimes when his feelings get involved, when things got messy. There's nothing wrong with having a good work ethic, but Migs is right. Both he and Mando are more alike than Mando's willing to admit. Nobody's perfect, but we try our best. Right, Mando? But like Mando, I think he should accept that some things are just out of his control and let go of the anger. But he won't, I know that. Not without a fight, at least. Then maybe catharsis will come. Forgiveness is good, but can he give it to himself? That is the way, right, Mando? Mando? The number you have dialed is temporarily out of service.
We all need to sleep at night.
Second chances. Those don't come along every day. I found that most things are a one and done kind of thing. And redemption, if you do get it, usually doesn't come wrapped up in a nice big bow of explosions. But sometimes I think you can get lucky. The stars align, or the planets, I forget which, but I've usually taken the opportunity to set things right, even if I was scared. If I was, then it was all the more important that I pushed through. Then all that buildup, the disillusion, the frustration, the anger, it got lifted off my chest, and that's one of the best feelings in the world. I think that's the situation Migs is heading into, because good luck or bad luck, depending on how you look at it, delivers to him his sins personified. Valen Hess, the Imperial commander at Burnin Konn. Maybe this guy didn't pull all the triggers that day, but it feels like he did. But unlike that past day, Migs doesn't have to play along anymore. Instead of just following orders, he gets the chance to be more of a hero. Well, a reluctant one anyway, with a little push from Mando. And this guy, there is no air of repentance in his voice. He's everything Migs has come to hate about so-called order, and the person he used to be, the embodiment of why he turned on the universe and on himself. Migs wasn't responsible for all that happened, but I think guilt can sometimes make you feel that you are. Shame of association is still shame. Back then, maybe all he could do was watch helplessly as it happened. There was nothing he could do to stop it, but now he can. So let me ask you, does he have it in him?
Our survey said
Yes. He did what he had to do, what he needed to do, for himself, which just so happened to be helpful to others, so it all worked out. And I think Migs owes a lot of that to Mando, because he showed him the way.
This is the way.
The right way, to cross those lines. But he also showed Migs why you do that. For others. And for yourself, as it turns out. He was the inspiration. And despite some of Migs' criticisms, I think he really admires Mando and his resolve. And the way he so willingly puts others before himself. Mando did what he had to do, so Migs could do what he had to do. I think Migs understands that now. There's nothing wrong with having a creed like Mando has. A creed is good. But the heart should keep it pliable, right? I think if you don't do that, it'll harden, and then you'll just be nothing but a machine. A soulless, mindless machine. That's for guys like this, not guys like Migs or Mando. His way, your way. At the end of the day, who's to say? Now, I don't know what's going to happen with this character in the future, but I think he's going to be all right. And what was with that look? I feel like that was more than just a nod to good aim. I'm just guessing here, but I think we're being set up for something. Maybe for Season 3 or the Book of Boba Fett? I don't know, what do you guys think? So, has Migs come to terms with the sins of his past? I think so. But I can't know for sure because he's just a fictional character and this is all hypothetical. But I think the healing has begun. He made a choice, and it turned out to be the better one this time. The harder thing, but the right thing. Because aren't the hard thing and the right thing often the same thing? That's the way. Because like Migs says, we all gotta sleep at night.